Okay, we're back. We're looking at a different database, and we're going to look at Ligeia and my search term of narrator or unreliable narrator. But because I happen to know that this database is smaller, as we look at the literary database, we're going to go ahead and sign in. There is a literary database inside this giant EBSCO database. It's called a EBSCO suite. So this has many of the databases. You could always click on that, but I'm going to go right to the one that has to do with Literary Reference Center because we're looking up literature. Okay. All right. So I know I can't do exactly the same type of search that I did at Bloom's because that was all about literature and that was already narrowed down because it's nothing but literature topics. So this one, even though we are in a small literary database inside EBSCO, this just means that because it's part of a larger, many subject database, there probably aren't going to be that many articles. We're talking about thousands of articles, or at the very least hundreds. So I think what I'm going to do is try, let's just try reader response. That is the criticism that I am looking at while analyzing Ligeia. That's what my attempt is, to see what I can find, see if I can find more articles. And be able to use the lens of reader response. Let's just see what they have about that by itself. We're not going to attach it to Poe's story yet. We're just going to take a look. This is this is the painful part of the research process. Not so painful. It's just you kind of have to build on it step by step. Okay, especially if you're not sure how the database works. If I already have a gut feeling about it, and I happen to know it because I'm the librarian. I have a lot of practice, and that's what it takes with research is just practice. So we're trying to help you guys get through this by having you come to the library. I do this LibGuide for you, and we run these searches and we give you examples. So let me go back there. I'm going to go back to the list. Mrs. Hannah is just clicking everywhere, and that's not going to help you. So let's not talk in the third person again. Anyway, um, reader's text, context, reader response, criticism. Hey, that looks pretty good. Um, Children's literature. I'm looking here at this is a summary of what's in this article or this chapter from a book. And there is a PDF full text. It's very important to find PDF or full text, HTML, full text, anything that says full text, that's what you want. Some of these articles may not be accessible, meaning they don't have a way for us to get it. Um, and we can talk about that at some other time if you need to know. But anyway, let's take a look. Reader response. The article focuses on reader response and reception theory. Okay, so it looks like here they're talking about Orwell, George Orwell, um, Animal Farm, um, 1984. So those are other literary greats that you will probably delve into or already have. But we're wanting to look at Poe right now, or whatever story you choose to look at. So, learning to read, interpretation and reader response criticism. Okay, let's go back and see how many articles. Oh boy, there's 1,333 articles. So we definitely need to narrow this down. So why don't we try I don't want to get so narrow that we're talking about a specific short story. Let's just try Poe. And the database should understand that. This search engine should understand what we mean by Poe, because it's not a very good, it's not a very common name. Um, so let's just try it. Okay. Formal pressures and Poe's dream poems. That's his poetry, and I'm not working on that, but it might be useful if we have to use it. We may have gone a little too narrow here. This isn't even about Poe. This one on the bottom. These last three are all about Richard Wilbur. And here, notice they put poetics. I think that's because we use the term Poe, Poe, and it's part of poetics. So we don't want to do what we talk about when we talk about Poe. I like this one just by the title, but let's see. We don't know for sure if it's going to help us. Oh, Poe's tales have been known to elicit responses in readers that range from the critical and incisive to the creative and imaginative. Let's try that. Ooh, captivity. These are subject terms that are in this article. Abduction. Uh, we mean abduction in logic. Uh, so that's not abduction as in kidnapping somebody. Well, it might be because they also mentioned captivity. Okay, this is interesting. So the logic part is probably, I'm guessing this is about one of his detective stories, maybe? We'll see. Follows a purposeful and playful illustration of a response to Poe that collapses these very categories of reception. Hmm. Let's just open it up because this is just not enough for me to determine. Oh, we cannot open it up. Here it is. PDF. There it is. Let's try that. What we talk about when we talk about Poe. Okay, so this looks like it could be a chapter in a larger book. They probably showed a book there. It's about 4 pages long. Annotated poem. Keywords. Okay. Um, Again, it's a little bit difficult for me to go through an entire article, but what you can do is you can decide to download this and keep it. We can also go back to our page. Back to the results list. Okay, so this is the one we were on. Um, so, yeah. You could save that link, or you could actually open this up again and then just download it. Yeah. Right over here, you can email it to yourself. You can send it to your Google Drive account. That will send the whole article there. Okay, that would probably be the best way to, you know, pick that up and then look at it later, because you want to continue looking for things. So we're going to go back to our result list over here. Okay, so let me try advanced search. Drowning. Let's see if we get anything different when I'm a little bit more precise. Here's something that might work. Now, again, we're talking about the poetry of Poe, but you could use that in, it just depends what kind of a paper you're doing, what kind of project you're doing. So even if it's not directly what you were looking for and the exact short story title, like in my case, it's Ligeia, this may be useful. Okay, so at this point, again, these are maybe helpful, but we just don't have the kind of time. Otherwise, we would have an hour-long video here, and I don't want to put you through that kind of pain. You can look through these videos as long as you can stand them, or you can come and ask me questions. We're going to take that out and do one last try. I'm just going to leave it alone with reader response criticism. I'll type that in, see what we get. We have a much better list to work off of, 308 instead of 1,300. So this will give us some background about this literary criticism. Okay. So in this case, you see a lot of these that look like books. How about we go to the left-hand side here, the source types. How about we make it reference books, and it will shorten this list. So we could learn about this particular literary criticism school of thought. Okay? And then you can get articles on that. Again, this would probably be part of a larger research project. So that's where we're at on using EBSCO for this project. In some ways, it may be helpful, especially with the literary criticism styles or schools of thought, that if you have one of the obscure or less talked about short stories or novel of whatever author you're planning to use or showcase in your project, then this isn't going to be that helpful. It's going to have a lot less articles. Okay, and we'll hopefully get a better idea of this when we're together in the library. So we'll stop this video for now. We'll see you later.